Yo, what's up, everybody? Just gonna give it a moment for everybody to hop in. Let me retweet this tweet and we will get going. Give me just a second. And okay. Give me just a moment. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a minute before we hop into things. Gonna go over some crypto first. Then we're gonna go over stocks. Mostly gonna be stocks. There's not too much crypto unless you guys have tickers. I would say probably about 15 to 20 tickers for crypto, and then whatever else I can find through my list for stocks. I'll give you my updates. I have people asking me options questions, so I will go over the most basic of basic things of options that I can think of to describe it in the most simplest way possible. So some of you probably already know this stuff. Some of you won't. If you have questions, ask. If it's too advanced for you, then talk to me about something smarter, and we can talk about it. But yeah, watching some bat for now. Here's some gold. Let's go Bitcoin. Find Bitcoin. There's Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Bitcoin. Alright, so cool. Alright, we're getting some people in and we'll get going in just about a minute more. If you guys are watching, retweet it, like it. More people will see it. Alright. 1 minute has passed. Okay, so let's start off with Bitcoin. First thing is we did have a big aggressive dump. So first thing my mind always leads to is, hey, we dumped. I did see the wick. I wasn't able to catch it or anything. So I'm automatically assuming, hey, there is a possibility that we get close back to the dump point, which in this case, I see two major points that stick out to me. One would be this wick over here, and the other one would be this level over here. So if I am expecting some sort of pump, it would end up coming up to here. But I don't believe there's anything in my mind which is saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and bust through up here. So that's sort of where I am with Bitcoin. I am short on Bitcoin. So there's two ways I'm doing this one. I did go ahead and grab a short over here. If it does dump, awesome. Great. I think I did a tweet on it. What did I do? It is over. Where's my tweet? Okay, yeah, I did this one. So the way I'm going to do this is I went ahead and entered now. I don't mind waiting on it to dump because I just said to you over here that I don't think it's going to be passing up this level up over here, let alone even get up here. So with that in mind, if this dumps aggressively now, awesome, cool. I'm going to get out really quick and get out. If this position does go sour, I don't have the stop actually in place. This is just how I would end up playing it, right over this wick just a little bit. But since I still think there's a possibility that it can get into this zone, I'll keep it a little bit laxed. And if we get up here, I think anything that's going to get up here, or even if it does magically touch up here, it's going to be a huge wick on the downside. And it's just going to end up coming down, where I'll just end up loading a lot because I'm kind of babysitting this position because I'm trying to catch up on everything. So that's pretty much where we're at on Bitcoin. We can take a look at like the daily time frames just to be sure. And so I don't forget, let me pull up Restream chat for everybody. Restream chat. No, I want the chat. Open in browser. Okay, cool. Got the chat open, that way I can see what you guys are doing. We'll go over some order flow too. So yeah, here we are with the daily. I'm gonna go find a different one because I have my shit over here. BTC USD. Yeah, this is great. So same thing I'm always talking about. We failed to break any kind of higher high structures for the most part. The whole time we ran up over here, we did a great job going all the way up to 20K. But every single time we failed to break any kind of pump upwards after an aggressive downside. No different thing over here. We dumped down aggressively once again. Got stopped shyly over here. Now, if we can end up going over here and consolidating a little bit more over here, then I'll be like, hey, there's a possibility that we'll go to 12K. Now, once we get to 12K, that's when I think things will get interesting because there's really not too much holding it past 12K. I mean, there's a little bit, but I think things will start going. But right now, there's no historical evidence that we broke any kind of higher high. If you're going to tell me it counts down here, no, it doesn't. Get out of here. We already dumped aggressively down there. We're just forming something at this point. So, if at any point this diagonal breaks, we'll be going downwards. Yostag, what's up? Who's on Twitch? Let me get on my Twitch channel too. My channel. How are you guys doing? I hope everybody's, you know. Wait, am I live? Yeah, I'm live. Twitch says I'm not live. Yes, I'm live. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's where I am with Bitcoin. If we can get by, that'll be awesome. But anything on the upside that doesn't break 10K is just a short, easy for me. XRP. I mean, we're in a blue zone. I told you guys before I wanted to get it lower, so I didn't like that it pumped up over here. So I'm still trying to get a little bit lower bid on XRP before we can get in on it. ETH finally broke this diagonal upwards, so we'll see if it recovers somewhat and maybe gets back up to 206 for another short, and then we'll go ahead and go short over there. EOS, I mean, everything's almost kind of the same. Did this little trend up here, which is, look, I found out this new button on here. Look what it does. It like, yeah, unnecessary, but yeah, it finally broke like its little BS it was doing over there. Litecoin, I have weekly charts thrown on this one. I'm going on something pretty basic on Litecoin. Once it gets at the 20 SMA, it looks like it's gonna cross the 20 SMA on the weekly. I'll go ahead and play it, vice versa if it shorts. So I was able to play 2 plays on Litecoin. That's all so far. One was a rejection over here, and one was a breakdown. And we're just kind of sitting flat on here. If we look at like the diagonal lines I do have drawn on Litecoin, I believe right now, yeah, I mean, I still think there's a possibility we can get this down. Unless, I'm just looking for narratives at this point. This ends up being something like this. Oh, man. And then moon. But hopes and dreams. Yeah, I'll go over some more tickers in a moment. I'm just going to go ahead and review SPY since I'm sure people are really excited about this one. Dude, I'm so mad. Like, this really does look like it's going to be the top. Typically, the 20 SMA does end up being a really big rejection point. So, a full extension out of the B bands, and now our price is popping back up. There's only like one last weekly pop-up over here, but when I look at NDX over here, we're fully gap filled for the most part. So even over here on NDX, I would say some sort of dump to like 87. I don't know how terrible that would be compared to SPY, but yeah, this does look a little bit toppy. All the people that I would typically counter trade were right last time because the markets just kept going up, and now they're all going short. So don't know about that one. But yeah, this line broke today. I was going to play a short-term put, but decided not to. Just wanted to observe. There were a couple interesting things that came through. I didn't get to check what came through at the end of the day. So, end of the day, we got SPY, QQQ puts. A lot of people doing puts. IWM puts. Those June dates. These guys right here are interesting. Yeah, it looks like it's leading towards the bearish side for most of SPY for the end of the day. SPX still going. So right now the thing with this is I don't want to like jump super bearish again and be wrong. So if the structure can hold, go ahead and break. I would say 28 to be safe because yeah, you need 28 to break. I would say if this gets underneath here, then I'll have a little bit more confidence to start grabbing a little bit sooner. And once 28 goes, then obviously, I mean, that's easy. I think once 28 goes, we'll start seeing this thing fall. Let me zoom out. Yeah, so over here ends up being the 20 SMA. So we're finally getting a candle that's closing underneath of it. I mean, that's good for bears as long as it doesn't swing back up. So we'll see. Apparently Powell's talking in the morning as well, which doesn't really help us. What are you guys saying in chat? I say I'm going to look. Nevada. Yeah, I can check NVDA. Wait, I'll just go through my tech list. I think I have it. Is it on there? No, I have AMD on there. We'll add it. Okay. The one thing I'm really mad about is I wasn't focusing on ET too much, and I wish I was, because a lot of these ET setups were really, really nice. Bullish TKs very early on. I just had it off the chart. I mean, this looks strong. A couple issues would be is the top side up over here. We would really need it to clear over. As of right now, so from an ET standpoint, so did the price did break through really nicely through the clouds and everything. So this is pretty bullish for the time being. But with it being so extended up and further away from the clouds, I would say you have a cluster right around over here, which is major support points. So you can do the 303 area, the 293 area, or 289 area, depending on what kind of whatever fits your boat. But those are the major points I'm seeing. Anything beyond this, I would say you're going to be looking lower. Now, this is big, thick cloud right over here, so this is a pretty nice one. So I don't think this is going to push through. But if for some reason, let's say it does the same thing it did over here with the green, but ends up coming down and we break through there, well, we'll just see what we saw on the upside over here, but on the downside, which would probably lead us to about... if things are really as bad as they say, I would say you're probably looking around this area. That's if things are bad. Earnings coming up as well. That's pretty nice. But yeah, I mean, I'm generally bullish on this company. I think this dip was bought up really nicely. Switching over to the monthly as well. Monthly flipped down a little bit and then went bullish again. And then this dip looked like anybody who missed out over here had one last chance to go ahead and get into it. So I would say on a macro sense, there is a little bit of a top issue. I could even draw this line over here. But I don't know. I really like Nevada as a long-term hold. So I would say it's a good opportunity. I wish I would have bought at 179. So anything at this point for me is just like, hey, man, I want to buy something cheap. So I want something bad to happen. Tesla. Yeah, this is a monster. We had Tesla order flow coming through, which was really interesting. I tweeted about this one. I didn't get to see today if we got any big betters. Yeah, same guy from the other day. Somebody keeps buying these. This is new. He's higher. 2021 by January, $1,300 call is $1.4 million bet. Let's take a look a little bit more. That's the Delta, Beta, Vega. So the new guys who are in here, who are interested in learning about like options, you do want to learn about the Greeks, but I would say pace yourself on learning it. If you don't understand like the basic concept of options, then you're gonna have a little bit harder of a time understanding like what the heck delta is and theta is. Theta is important because that's what decays your stuff, and delta's important as well because that'll help you get a little bit of an edge. So big is important too if you can understand. Well, I would one at a time. I would say focus on those two first and then get into that. Tesla. Yeah, I mean, Tesla looks a little toppy, but it does really crazy things. With Elon saying he's going to go ahead and reopen that stuff, I don't know how that's going to react, but stock's been going up since he said that Tesla price is too high. So that is definitely something to be a little concerned of, but if I'm just looking at this chart solely, it went down, up, down, so I would say the next mid would be a support test back over here since it's crazy volatile. Or maybe probably around 652 and then back up again. I mean, there's a bunch of people betting for 1,000, 1,300. So if I just look at this like, hey, this is nothing but a big triangle that's going on around here. We'll just assume that it goes like halfway down around here and then comes back up. That's the plan. What else do we got? Okay, so... this is for JBags, man. So options, pretty much what they are is basically you are betting on so let's just say you're trading a stock. You're betting on what the stock's going to do via a different instrument of trading. So you'll be betting, hey, I think Tesla's going to be hitting, I don't know, $650 by a certain point, and I'm going to go ahead and bet on that. And the way you would bet on that is, let me just give you a visual explanation too. Hey, if you guys don't look at CoinMarketCalendar, dude, here's all the mainnet launches. Look them up. Make easy money. Apparently they work lately. Bookmarks. Bookmarks. Where is it? Alright, so in this case, let's pull up Tesla. I'll just give you a straight up example. Alright, so you have an option of doing a call option, which is basically you betting on, hey, it's going to go up. And at that point, once you decide, hey, I'm going to do a call option, at that point, you'd be like, hey, now I want to figure out what price do I think it's going to hit? What am I going to select for the upside? And then finally, you'd pick, hey, what time period do I think this will hit by? So that's why if you don't have a base understanding of TA, it's going to be very, very hard for you to understand options because you're not going to be understanding what you're looking at the chart. You'd be just going blindly like, hey, this is going up. I think it's going to keep going up. Yeah, you don't want to do that with options because then you're just going to lose your money if things go wrong. Because with options, if you're doing something short term, which most people I see initially ask me about, they're like, hey, I want to do weeklies or bi-weeklies or something under a month. They're like, but we also have a job or a family or something like that. And I'm like, dude, how are you going to manage your position if you have no time to manage it? And not only that, you don't have an understanding of TA. So you're basically betting on things with any sort of understanding of what you're looking at, and you're risking yourself because you have short amounts of time. So you can do short amount of time. It's just you have to understand. You can't show me a daily chart and be like, hey, I think it's gonna hit by what date is it? June 1st. I think this is gonna end up hitting $140. Like that's really short of a bet. Like, what gives you the sense it's going to give you so much volatility all the way up to this point? I'm just using this ticker as an example. I mean, you don't have to pay attention. It's EA, but just an example. So, yeah, so we go back to Tesla as the example. Going back here. Right now, our target is, yo, Beastie, what's up, man? Thank you for joining, dude. Just teaching these guys some little basic option stuff. So right now our target is 650, and let's just say, I mean, my personal preference with options is 2 to 3 months out. So we'll go by my rules. So we'll just pick, I think it's going to hit by August, 650. We'll do the upside as well in a minute, but we'll do the downside for now. So you're going to go ahead and, no, I'm not going to short this one. The one I shorted today was Fixie. So I shorted Fixie for a continuation to the downside. I think this is going to go. But yeah, man, SPY actually looks like it's going to come down. And it's like, man. I got wrecked on my EEM short. I should have bought more time on my hand. And I'm looking at this now, and it's definitely looking bearish. So that was a real silly move on my part. I saw your Macy's short thing that you said to me. Yeah, this bad boy's looking like it's going back down. The structure is going to break very soon. Macy's to $2. So, that's funny. But yeah, so back to Tesla. Let me go find it again. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and say you're going to pick a put. We already picked our timeline, so what you have to do at that point is go ahead and pick a date, because you have to pick a date every time you're picking a put or call, whatever it is. That comes first. So ours was August, and then you got to pick a strike rate. So here's the strike prices in the middle. You got to keep in mind of the dates. August 21st is fine. So 650 is right over here. Okay. So that's basically how that works. You're going to basically quote yourself that, and you're going to go ahead and buy it. When it comes to Tesla, there's reasons I don't play it, because right now each of these are worth $50 a piece. So you can't just buy a $50 piece. Each contract is equivalent to 100 shares. So when you go ahead and buy it, you have to pay 50 times 100. So that's one contract. So I don't like holding one contract. I like holding multiple contracts that I can scale in and out with, take profits out of. That's why I like playing things that are a little bit more OTM on that end of things. So What else can I tell you as far as they go? I'm just trying to think of the questions people have asked me. So there's another thing on here as well that makes a big difference. Doing something with range trading when you're doing options makes a huge difference. Yeah, so that's yeah, exactly. So that's a good point to bring up too. So yeah, okay, cool. So I saw this guy over here. No. Let me find a better one. I'll give you a great example of what you're saying. SPY. Cheapest guys. Okay. Cheapest guy with the most time is... Come on, I know you're here. More time. We need more. Dang, they're still getting expensive. But hold on, I'll give you a good example. I'll find it. Alright, that's the best I could find. Okay, so this is a 7/17 expiration date for puts of a strike date of 220 on SPY, and these are costing him $1.12. It's a split play, so but we won't focus on that. So let me go to SPY for you. So there's SPY. So he goes ahead and enters that in at $1.50, $1.12, whatever it was, and what was his expiration or strike? 220. So 220 is all the way down here. That's pretty extreme. That's pretty nuts to think that. But the catch is like you said, he does have that time period. Yo, Paul, thank you for joining, man. It'll be up on YouTube Live if you do want to check it out later, but I appreciate you joining. I'll make sure I get the schedule out ASAP today. So, yeah, so that's what the person is betting. That's what he chose to do as a strike. So at any point between now and July, he can go ahead and exit. So let's just say we do have an aggressive dump over here and we have a limit down day. Everybody starts freaking out and they're like, yeah, man, let's go ahead and buy these puts. So now magically these puts have now just gone up because the interest has skyrocketed and now there's more volatility coming through and now the price is going to skyrocket. This guy's puts are now $3. I mean, he has tons of time. If it goes all the way down here and gets in the money, give you an example. Like, things getting in the money could lead up to $38, $15, $10. So his $1 investment in those contracts or $1 price contracts, which is $100, ends up being a lot more money once later on. And he has a choice of exiting. It's just as you get closer to your expiration date, you're increasing more of a risk, especially if you're in profit. That's where you got to understand, like, hey, do I take profit here? What are my profit levels? Like, a good thing for me is I know which options at this point run fast for me. So my options profit range is 40, 60, 90. That's where I like to take profit at. There are points where I end up holding things longer. I can give you the example again on Marvel. This is my worst one, probably. Still bothers me. All right. A center's put up around over here somewhere. Okay, does really good. My target was I think it was like $16. Price didn't hit $16, but price around this point, nuts volatility, dude. It was so nuts that I was up like 4,000 or 5,000%. Popped up and I lost about like 3,000%, but I was still up a lot. But it came back down over here at about 8,000%, and I didn't end up cashing out anything like an idiot. And so I still had tons of time. Like, I still even have time to this point. And just the minute it popped up that one time after that point, I lost all my money because it just lost all its value. So you have tons of time to do it. It's just you got to have your own time periods of how quickly you want to exit it. More you try to get in the money, more it's harder to go ahead and get out sometimes, especially if you're getting close to your expiration date. And you never really want to hold the expiration date because most options, 99% of the time, end up expiring worthless. Google chart? Yeah, I can do that one in just a moment. Why does price target play a role? Well, price target plays a role because if you're trading if you're range trading, then it doesn't matter because then what you're going to be doing is you're just going to be trading daily action for whatever you're betting short term. But if you're betting like longer term, that's a little bit different. That's what I'm doing. So like short term with marble play would end up being different. So short term with Marvel would be, hey, this is reaching the top of the major range. Let me go ahead and put a week out. So in this whole point, I wouldn't have made money here, wouldn't have made money here. But now, if I would have bought this put up here and it did this aggressive drop over here, that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4 days later, I'd be in profit. I'd get out. That's an option swing trade for a weekly trade. You can do weekly contracts for those or bi-weekly contracts. So if there is enough interest and it's a popular ticker, yeah, you'll be able to do those kind of trades. It's just, that's why price target matters on that one. Trading volatility is a whole different thing. Wouldn't do that one. Dude, Shopify. Dude, I know. I will check that one. Oh my god, dude. See, this is what I'm saying. I gotta, set alerts on my things. Ah, man. Dude, what is this? How much did I miss out on? Oh, 71%. So, Harry, J-Bags. Okay, so I don't even have to, look at this too much to tell you. These options probably fucking ripped, okay? So this is, the most ideal situation. You have April 13th to about now. You have 30 days of extreme volatility. Price ran up about, how much did it run up again? It ran up almost 70% in a 30-day period. Now, typically stocks move about, I get alerts on my Robinhood for 1 to 5% typically, sometimes 10%, and that's pretty exotic. Okay, because you got to keep in mind our limit down days are 5% moves or up, whatever it is, it's 5%. Plus, I think it's a little bit more after that if we keep going. So either way, 60% for that much. What if you're in the right direction and you got in early, dude? That is so much money. These things probably went, I don't know, probably at least a minimum of 1,000%. I wonder. Let's look them up. So that's the kind of things that get me, because even though crypto's really awesome for those great gains, options, man, you cannot beat them. I cannot. That's the best, most funnest instrument I've ever traded. Options are the most funnest thing for me and most profitable. Crypto's cool. It's just takes a little bit more of my time to do that one. I'm just gonna check one for this one. Let's see. We're gonna pick June. No, we'll pick July. Sorry. Shopify is at 7. It was at, we'll do the $500 one, see what those guys are doing. My god. Wait, how much are these? Is that the price? Oh my goodness, dude. Okay, so these are valued at a couple $100. Let's see how much they did. Oh my goodness. Look at that. All right. So J-Bags. So each of these things, because you can sort of see this breakout resistance over here and this little compression type thing. So these went from $30 all the way priced to about $250. So each contract, when I tell you it's $30 times 100, so they're now worth 270 times 100 per contract. Dude, these guys just made so much money, whoever did go that way, and they got in the money. So, really awesome. Insane. I would love one of these days to grab one of these plays. I'd be rich. But that's big risks right there. I don't do that. That's irresponsible. Can you set the expiration date yourself, or are they already set? Yeah, dude, too pricey, beast. You can set your expiration date yourself, but not on brokers I've been on. I know on crypto options you can, and that typically ends up being a scam. But you can only trade options dates that are available typically. You don't get to pick and choose too much. Google, I can check Google. I don't really check Google too much, so I wouldn't really know, but yeah, I mean, Google's doing Not saying that's rising wedge. I'm just saying that's kind of basically all the patterns I'm seeing. Google still has one gap left to fill up over here, so there's a possibility tech can go ahead and pump a little bit more. There's a huge possibility we still go ahead and close the week strong. So I don't want to take that out of my mind, but man, all of tech closed small. I mean red. Metals. That's the big thing. If we can print out some more money, man, I'm going to be so bullish on metals. The more they print out money, more my metals go up. Silver, I think silver's actually trying to make a comeback. I'm beyond surprised on this one. Silver had a really, really bad dump over here. It did really horrible. So now it's tethering over major support and resistance area. So if we can get silver over $16, I think silver can make a comeback. So something to watch. GDX, I'm looking for a small dump over here on GDX so I can go ahead and get back in. Most of these gold things I'm really bullish on. So RGLD, dude, this is one that's big regrets. Big regrets. It just keeps mooning. It's monster. How much has it done since the bottom? 130%. No big deal. Yeah, you're better off choosing a longer expiration date, but so here's also the problem with longer expiration dates as well. The downside of that is, here we go. I'll give you an example because it happened to me. So I got in somewhere around over here, okay? The price is supposed to be dumping for me. The problem is the price keeps going up, down, so I do have up and down days, so it is somewhat hitting my profit, but then going back down. More time that passes on, that's where your option starts to decay, and you got to watch that theta value. So things start to decay as more time goes on, so you really got to pick what you're picking. So if you want to trade something that's going to trade sideways, there's an option type for that one, other than straight up calls and puts. If you want to play both ways, you can buy either a call or put, or buy a different type of options play, a different type of credit spread or something. So it does give you more flexibility. It does leave you in a little bit of a drawdown, so there are risks on either end. You get stuck in more of a drawdown, shorter time periods. You can go ahead and get those quick flips if you need. So it also depends on your balance. Some people can't day trade on USA platforms. Unless you have 25K in your balance, you'll be marked as a pattern day trader. So that's a rule that you have to look at as well if you're in the USA and you don't have an account. But typically, I mean, I don't trade options like that within a week where I'm trading like 5 trades a day or something crazy like that on dailies. So I don't do daily option trades. Another one that's been on a huge tear is RRC. I did have calls for that one, but another example, I just didn't have enough time on my hands. I had bought calls, I was bullish on this one, and I think my calls expired like right over here. Oh man, so, and then it just went crazy. QKC, I think it's going to pull a scam. So hopefully it does a scam where it like comes down here and pops back up, but make it or break it point for QKC for a cork chain. Either all-time lows, or we're going to go ahead and do a ripper all the way up to here. How much is that? A little ripper for 50% gains. Alright, let me look up. Let's look up the lotto section today. How the lotto section's doing. Alright, I was really interested in this lotto. UPS puts or UPS calls. UPS. Also, J-Bags, you want to, like, the one big major thing I did with options when I first got started was, I would only trade 2 certain patterns that I knew had a high success rate and ones that my indicators were easy to read on. So, for example, like rising and falling wedges, I was really good at trading them, regardless of whatever time frame it is. So that is something to keep in mind as well. If you're good at something that's in a pattern that's on like charts or whatever, or you know how to find swing failure patterns, whatever it is. If you're good at something, that's the kind of thing that you want to base your options trading on. So if you're confident, hey, the price is starting to move, I want to go ahead and get in now because I think by next week it'll do that. then yeah, then go ahead and play those weeklies. It's just having your risk management and options is super, super key, because if things go sour, they go sour quick. So you have to have that. You have to have that in mind when you go ahead and open up your position in the first place. Like, hey, this is the worst case scenario for this options trade. Am I going to be able to handle it? And if the answer ends up being no sometimes, then that's where you got to figure out, hey, is this one really worth it, or do I need to grab a different type of play, or do I need more contracts so I can go ahead and do those kind of things? So it more comes involved when you end up doing something weird rather than something you're good at. Like this bad boy. I did get the top on this one, so this one was nice. It wasn't for too much, like it was a small one. But here's another thing that's coming over here. I like playing 20 SMA breaks as well as these diagonal breaks. So this diagonal break lies right around the 20 SMA area. So if we can go ahead and get this to break over here, this will be another one that's a good easy one I'll probably aim for, likely around $80. There are stop losses. I haven't used them. I heard Robinhood has stop losses. I don't. Somebody told me they don't execute sometimes, so that's definitely something to keep note of. I've never used them, so I don't know what to tell you about the stop options. I just either manually exit, because the one thing you're exposed to is those gaps. So you can't really trade after hours, so that really gets people. So whenever I'm trading tickers like this, look at all those gaps. I'm either right or I'm wrong on these tickers, or I have the right time period done up right. So right off the bat, like if I was trading, this is on the hourly right here. So if I was trading like 2 weeks out plays, I know I would be in a drawdown over here, but then when it would pop, it would go great. But if it doesn't, then yeah, I'm gonna lose my money. So right now, what we're doing is we're coming back down to the downside and we're dumping. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna go ahead and make some money here. So that's what I did over here right before we closed. I took some puts, 20 SMA curve over here, gap fill possibility. So dude, I actually don't sleep. Well, actually I have been sleeping. It's just, I sleep really late now. I don't know, I fuck up my sleep schedule a lot. I was going to sleep early and waking up really early. So that was really good at first. But now I'm staying up until like 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. It's really bad. I should probably not do that. Oh yeah, dude, the gaps part. Well, see, the gaps part is typically, you can figure it out for the most part. One of the biggest things with like SPY is, I mean, you have SPY over here, but then you can see the after hour action with SPX. So you can typically decide it by after hours and what the price action was. So you just got to get used to it. But those ETFs are pretty dangerous. GDX buyer over here, 15 cents. Bitcoin pumping. Please don't. Yo, thank you, Crypt Baron. My man. Just scrolling through a couple tickers. Steel. What else do you guys have for me? Why is my Twitch showing you guys? There we go, my channel. Healthcare is a section that was going crazy. Let me just check this one. I saw Crypto Kaleo mentioned this one. This is one I was debating on grabbing some calls on this. There was a lot of order flow coming through for INO starting on Monday. So these are still repeated coming through calls for INO. Super interested in this one right over here. Low OI coming through for about, it's coming a little bit expensive, so we can go ahead and pick a little bit further out in the money if I can. But I don't like playing things over $2, but I will if I have to. But this is a really interesting one. Especially this is repeated call activity for this. This is worth a tweet. Because if we look at the chart over here, it did dump. But there's a lot of hype on this coronavirus stuff. So if we continue, earnings did poor earnings, but we're still pumping. That's the fashion. Here's one I was talking about the other day on as well. So you have this biotech share one. This could possibly be the top. 2015 top resistance over here. Bad candle over here. Let's see how we close out the week, if we close it out strong or not. And push for all-time highs. We did get a little all-time high push, but we gave all that back for the most of the day today. Let me go ahead and tweet this. CC at Kaleo. He's really good. I really like talking stocks with Kaleo. He's the man. You guys should definitely follow him. Yeah, J-Bags, I still could answer whatever you have, so if you have more for me, do ask me in the DMs. I'll definitely help you out. Another thing is to pay attention to is your open interest and your volatility. What am I saying, volatility? Why does it say... Volume. Oops. I'm like losing my mind. Yeah, volume and open interest. Open interest is a big thing because if open interest is low, that could be a start of somebody building position. Especially if you're seeing block players coming through or if you're seeing repeated stuff coming through, that could be somebody building up a position as open interest increases. It's no different on Bitcoin as people see open interest for longs and shorts. You can see open interest for whatever certain put and calls you're seeing. So same thing. That's why this one stuck out to me first is like, are you going to be building this position or are you running through more volume? If I'm seeing open interest building and I'm seeing way more volume, that's showing me, hey, you're just in trading this one or you're doing something weird that I don't understand. So I don't really like following something like that. But when I'm seeing something like this, which is, 4,800 contracts are already in there sitting, and then I'm seeing somebody else scale in for a little bit. I mean, I don't like the date for it, but that's just one of those examples. Like, I like people scaling into those low OI positions because once things start moving your way, they're just going to build up on positions. I've had a couple times where Jim Cramer on CNBC, my man, he has shilled my position before, and those CNBC guys just roll in and buy up my position, and I just dump on them. So... definitely good to pay attention to your open interest and everything. What else can I think of? Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys right now. This was the one that I was looking at, Derp. That's one of the mainnet ones, which hasn't made a move. And I was going to buy a bag. So I'm going to try to see what Derp can do. I mean, their mainnet hype hasn't really been talked about too much. And I saw people talking about this one before, but it's been just going down for a while. It hasn't pumped in a little bit. So maybe we can get a pump. See if anybody has anything else on. No, they don't. Last thing for Bitcoin. Yep, I mean, yeah, it's trying to hold over the POC over here, so we'll see. If it gets over the breaks down into the POC, that's assured it's going to work out. If not, then we'll go ahead and see it get up here. Alright, well, I'm going to get off. If you guys have anything else, my DMs are open. I'll go ahead and get that stream schedule pinned, and I will catch you guys later. Thank you very much for